Okay.
Excellent. Hello,
It's the
music
music
and
is
cancer
show. Well, it's been a minute, hasn't it?
It has been a hot minute. It has been a hot minute. Yes,
I know.
indeedy doody. But we are back. Yes, we were just talking about just before coming on. We were talking about kind of this whole idea of the dark night of the soul kind of thing, which I felt like I was going through last week. There was something I need to do my research around what a dark night of the soul is. Eckhart Tolle, it's kind of his jam.
Mhm.
Um, so I do need to do a bit more research of it. But I thought if there is one, I'm pretty sure I was going through it last
Mm.
week. It was a very, very dark week for me. I just could not
Yeah.
seem to pull myself up out of the mood in with my bootstraps. Yeah, it was just I was crying all the time. Just yeah, just wasn't a great week. Just wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, like there was a few things at play. We worked out there was a full moon last week.
Hmm.
And we also said it's never just one night though, is it? It's
Oh
always
no.
it's we call it the dark night of the soul, but it's usually can be, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, a week.
I mean, it's
And
it's a night in like relatively speaking to your life. So like
right,
your life is like a night of your life would be like a full week or two probably. But
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Um,
there's a few things at play.
a lady I listened to, you've heard me talk about her, Rebecca Campbell, she's talked about this a lot too. And
Mm.
um again, because this is entirely unscripted, I'm not prepared to because I've got she talked in a podcast just recently, and she had a great word for it, and of course I can't think of what it is, but if I do, I'll come back to you.
Mm.
But yeah, it's one of these things that we, whether something triggers it or whether it's just part of our natural cycle of life, that we have our ups and our downs, because we cannot
Mm.
be up all the time.
No.
It is absolutely normal. For every up, there's a down.
Hmm.
And last week was your down.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And sometimes, like, I would often say to my clients, like, when we're talking about emotional triggers and things, especially, there is usually a reason for it because emotions don't evolve out of a vacuum. Like, they just don't come out of nowhere. There is usually a reason why. But I think whoever said that may not have been a woman and may not have been perimenopausal because, like, sometimes as women, we have these peaks and troughs in our moods, and I'm sure it's hormonal. So, yes, so I mean, if we're looking for a reason, yeah, that might be it. But what I would say to women who wake up with a feeling of anxiety, or if they are triggered it by in with something, like something could happen and it triggers an emotion in them, and they're like, why am I feeling this way about it? Like, you just have to trust, like, your body has this infinite knowledge to it, this infinite intelligence that we don't understand. Like, it's the intelligence that makes the trees drop its leaves and the fruit to bear. Like, the trees just know when to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So our body remembers things. So it remembers times when we had to protect ourselves. And so it triggers us into a behavior of sort, whether it be lashing out in anger to alleviate the discomfort or going into anxiety and trying to smooth things over and people please, whatever it might be. But sometimes we just need to trust that our body remembers a time when we had to protect ourselves, and it is going to try to protect you in the ways that you used to when you were a child. So whether it
Right.
be the good girl or whether it be lash out in anger so people left you alone or whatever it might be. So just trusting your body remembers and that you feel that way for a reason, even if you can't articulate and specify when and where that time is. It doesn't matter who said what, when they said it, why they said it. Your body remembers and you just need to deal with it. So we get so hung up on the why. Why do I feel this way? Why? Sometimes it just doesn't matter why. Just
Hmm.
deal with the emotion. So that's definitely what I tried to do last week, was to just sit with it, cry when I had to cry, um, not put any expectations on myself. Like, my signature program at the moment, I'm pre-recording a whole heap of content, so the people who join my signature program, it's all there and just bang ready to go. But I couldn't even make myself do that. I couldn't muster up the enthusiasm to get into the content of the videos, and Yeah, it was just so just when you if you are someone who is going through a period like this, like just be kind and compassionate to yourself. Do not force yourself to do anything you don't necessarily have to do. Like obviously I had to go to, work and things, but yeah, it's and don't try delving too far into why, just trust that your body knows what it needs to do
Mm,
and just to give it the space and grace to do it.
mm.
And that's pretty
So
much
when we're trying to find the reason why, that's our head trying to make sense of it and trying to come up with the answers. Our
hmm
head gets in our own way in so many different ways. So if you keep it below the chin and keep it in your
hmm
body and honor it, I'm really proud of you that you honored it and you said, I'm not capable of this today. So let's put it off for a week or
Yeah.
let's like feeling it. You really felt it. So, and
hmm
that's, I mean, I think you're probably more emotionally advanced than a lot of people might be,
Mm.
so you've recognized what it is for what it is,
Yeah.
and you are
Yeah.
able to honor it, and you're able to sit with it, and you're able to cry the tears, and you're able to move the energy, because crying is a brilliant release for moving things through,
Yeah.
rather than harbor something and let it fester and
hmm
push it aside and go, yeah, I'm just going to live my life and keep doing all the things. That
Mm.
just, you've created then this energetic block that's sitting somewhere.
hmm
So
Yeah.
by dealing with it, by honoring it, by feeling it, by moving it through,
hmm
you've completed the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
absolutely
So well
just
done.
sitting in the suck, like just sitting
Yes.
in the suck of it, allowing yourself to be there because a lot of the time, what I found, like me personally, and through coaching lots of women, they don't allow themselves. So I think of emotions as well, I think of them as like toddlers that are hanging off your leg because you can't ever fully put 100% attention into things with a toddler hanging off your leg. And that's kind of what it's like. Yeah, you can go about your day, but it's harder. Like it just feels heavier. But I also liken it to going through a tunnel. And a lot of women don't go into that tunnel because they're afraid that if they go into the tunnel, they will never find their way back out again. So a lot of us are scared to actually allow the emotion to be and feel as bad as what it does. But just know that it's just a feeling. It will pass because everything does. Everything is cyclic. You will get your way out of it. But if you just sit in it and process it and let it go over you like a wave in the ocean, just know that waves pass and then they dissipate. And then there'll be another one and it will dissipate. Like you're never going to be stuck there. And I think that's the key thing to remember when you're processing your emotions. It doesn't need to be complicated. Just sit in the suck and let it be as shitty as what it is. So a lot of the thing to like when women especially are processing things like anger as well, because it's very unattractive for women to be angry. No one likes an angry woman. But we get really angry when we get triggered by especially siblings and parents because they've had lots of opportunity to cause hurt throughout our life. So when we're triggered by them, it's not just that one event, it's all the previous events where they've made you
Right.
feel that way, comes upon you like a tsunami. And that's why a lot of women come to me because they are so triggered by family. But where was I going with that?
It's the build up. Yeah.
um, yeah, that's right, anger.
Mm.
And so when processing anger, especially, women don't want to go to the place where they are like, oh, F this and F that, and they F and did this, and fucking do it like that. And they don't allow themselves to get really angry about it because they feel like if they speak it out loud, it makes them a bad person. It's like, oh, I know my mum did the best she could with the tool she did, and yeah, that's logically, yep, but it doesn't negate your experience of her in that moment. So
Mhm.
process that and call her whatever it is you want to call her. Say whatever it is you want to say and get it out. It's not like you're acting on it. It's not like you're saying it directly to her, but you need to get it out of your body.
Right.
But then you kind of get that dichotomy of like, your thoughts and your words are, the house that you live in, and blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, I don't know where the happy medium is.
Mm.
Like when it comes to processing something, and then actually when you speak it, is that what you become? In my experience, no. But it's just a really
Yeah.
good way of
I think
processing and getting it out.
expressing it is a really important part of it, and I think it's okay to express things without then without the fear of it becoming your new reality.
Mm,
Because if you're in really, it's the repetition of something and the embedding it into the subconscious is what brings it about in a law of
yes.
attraction kind of way. If you're just speaking your truth and then releasing it, I think
Yeah.
that that's a healthy way to move on.
Yeah.
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 I
No, I
love that
like
you
that.
said too about emotions are like the waves of the ocean. I think it's
Mm,
no mistake that, we both of us are very into our tarot, and the emotions suit is water.
mm,
So I love that it's you sometimes you feel like you're drowning, sometimes you feel parched, like there's
mm.
the water aspect of it and the waves crashing over. I
Yeah.
really think that sums up emotions beautifully, just having that water there.
Yeah, yeah. And I always reference that too. Like when I do tarot readings and I see water in it,
Hmm.
it's a good reflection of either what's going on with that person at the moment or the state that they need to get into. So if the waters are rough, it's like your
Hmm.
emotions are playing a big
Bit
role at the
turbulent,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good way to reflect back what's going on with them. And I
Yeah.
think it's especially like the Six of Swords, the one where
Yes.
they're in the boat and
Yes.
on one card at the front of the card, the waters are turbulent, but then on the other side of the boat it's
Yeah.
calm. And
Yeah.
so it's like it feels rough now, but it's going to be okay.
You're going to smoother waters. Yeah.
Yes.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Mm. So yeah, so that was my week last week, but I'm feeling
Yeah.
much better now. And
Fantastic.
when you fill up your own cup, speaking of water,
Hmm.
um, you're so much more resilient to things when they do crop up. So, like, I mean, we've been playing around with my son's medication this last week because he's put on a lot of weight from the medication that he's on, and so that was on Thursday. So Friday, I've cut him down to like half a tablet in the morning. Incident, meltdown. Okay.
Mm.
So then we had the weekend, and weekend's okay because there's no triggers. Then
Hmm.
Monday, he like smashed a glass for no particular reason, like just grabbed a jar and just smashed it against a brick wall, as you do. So that was it. And then I got a call on the Tuesday before my networking event that I was going to pick him up because he was losing his rig. So I was like, okay, well, that's not working clearly. But because I'd allowed myself to fill up my emotional cup, so to speak,
Hmm.
I was a lot more resilient. I just went, yep, okay, no worries. I didn't make up a story around it. Like old me would have been, poor me, victim mode. I can't
Yeah.
go anywhere. I can't do anything. This is my lot in life. La 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 la. But instead, I'm just like, yep, okay. So I picked him up and I said, Ashton, would you like to come out for lunch with me with a whole bunch of women? Yep, done. And so I just took him with me, and it's like, this is the way it is, ladies. And
You want me, you got all of me.
exactly, I said,
He's part
and
of the
we
package.
exactly. And we go around the table at the start and we sort of introduce ourselves and say, why we're here like this. And I said, well, I'm a wife and I'm a mother. I brought my work with me today. So,
Yeah.
yeah, is what it is what it is. So, yeah, but
Exactly.
because I'd allowed myself that, and this is where I think we fall down a lot with self care as well. We think self care is like yoga and smoothies and that, but self care is actually the way that I teach it, because I've actually got a
Yes.
program on this if anyone's interested. I'm going to be redoing that one as well. But yeah, the core foundational piece of self care is allowing all your emotions to just friggin' be and not making
Yes.
up a story around it, and don't repress them or suppress them or put them away. Like, allow yourself to have whatever it is that you're feeling, because what you resist persists. So
Exactly.
that's
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
yeah, absolute foundational piece. And I think my husband's finally come to the terms with the fact that I'm just going to cry sometimes, and he doesn't need to fix it.
Yes. Well, that's
The
the
thing
other
for
thing,
me.
isn't it? Learning to just let it be,
Hmm.
and that husbands are not responsible for fixing their
Yep.
wives.
Yep. And it's not their
And
fault either. Like, because sometimes I think,
correct.
what have I done? It's like, could I do more? It's like, no, no, I just need to cry. I just need to cry. My life
Yeah.
doesn't suck. I just need to process something, and I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but just
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
that's all part of the let them as well, isn't it? I think
Mm.
if someone needs to cry, let them. You don't
Yeah.
fix them, just let
Hmm.
them. You can
Hmm.
listen to them, you
Yep.
can witness them. Sometimes just having a witness or having someone to offload your thoughts to, putting it out,
Mm-hmm.
there to a friend in a message, in a phone call, having, even if you can pull yourself out of the house and catch up with someone, just to get it out there. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not, it stops swirling around. When you vocalize it, you're giving it a different energetic shift, and it can really
Mm.
help put it out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Women are sharers, and we do offload that way. Men are fixers. So men
Mm,
feel better when they've fixed it. That's why that,
mm,
most men are mechanics and stuff because they
yeah.
like fixing broken things. But yeah, women, we need to acknowledge that, like, yeah, we don't need fixing. We just gotta allow it. And yet,
Yeah.
so the way to be a really good friend to someone, if you're listening to this and going, "Oh God, this makes me really uncomfortable to watch someone
Mm,
cry," and yeah, you do want to fix it, you do want to make them feel better, but just sitting in the weeds with them, holding their hand, giving them a hug, just letting them be, and just when they're talking about things, saying, "Oh my God, geez, yeah, no, I don't blame you for feeling that way. Absolutely. How else could you have felt?" Like,
validate them.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, and that's all we need. Like we all
And
know, yeah.
yeah, and that's what we call holding space for someone, where you just let them talk, let them express, let them share, let them, without fixing them. Just
Mm,
whether you just nod your head and let them go, don't try
mm-hmm.
and offer suggestions, because the
Yeah,
last thing you want is for your friend to then to come in and go, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this supplement? Have you tried
yeah,
yoga? Have you, it's like, I
yeah,
just, I
yeah,
don't need fixing. I
yeah.
just need to talk.
I actually need it out of my head
I
first
do,
and out of my
and
body.
that, so that holding space is a beautiful way, as a friend, as a partner, as a parent, as anything.
Mm,
Just let them talk, let them share, let them express themselves, because that's all part of processing these emotions that we
mm-hmm.
need to get out of our body, so that they don't stay stuck, so they don't manifest and then create a whole new set of issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super important. Mm.
So important. So,
Great chat. Love these
I
chats.
know, absolutely. They, yeah,
Yeah.
not talked about enough.
I
Or
know, and I never know. But this is what we love, guys. We never know where we're going to go when Kerry and I start chatting. We just
yeah,
don't ever know where this is heading. But there's always little gems in there
mm,
that I get as much.
mm,
I get so much out of this too.
yeah, for sure. And like it's actually like I love going back to that ideal average day that we did like 2 years
Yes.
ago, or whatever.
Oh my
And
gosh.
one of your
Probably closer to 3.
Quite possibly, yeah, yeah, because it was
Yeah.
right when I started. So,
Yes.
yeah, and just like you saying, like in the afternoon, catching up with friends and having like deep conversations was a part of your
Yes.
ideal day. And the fact now that we're doing it and we're actually carving out time and we're sharing it with other
Having
people.
a cuppa together and
That's right.
just nutting things out. I know. I love it.
And like surrounding yourself with people who you want in your future as well, who are similar to you and where you want to be. So you and I, we're probably, at the same place wanting to be better. So it's good to have these conversations where you're not sitting there stuck in victimhood. We're actually like talking about things that are going to elevate us and sharing
Mm.
it and making it normal. So yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
that's it.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Shall we get to a scenario?
Let's do it.
All right. So I'll read it out, but you've got it
Okay,
there too, don't you?
I
But
do.
again, this is something that came across my Facebook feed, I guess you call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a look and go, oh, that's a good one to talk about. And then I sort of I shelved it, and I thought, all right, we'll do this together.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
um, it is okay. So this is from the point of view of a husband. And he says, my wife has had a stressful time at work and was looking forward to a vacation at her grandparents' cabin. She bought a few books that she wanted to read, and I brought my fishing rod. She had no plans to entertain. My dad stopped by to go fishing. It was supposed to just be my dad stopping by for the day, but somehow my mum inserted herself, and I was shocked to see her. My wife had no plans to entertain my mother, and I told my mum that. My mum bought stuff for lunch and dinner and tried to engage my wife into making dinner for us all. But my wife said no. She's relaxing and reading. If my mum wanted to cook, go for it. My dad and I get back late, and at the table, my mum started to complain about how she did all this herself. I looked at my wife who just took her plate and ate in her room. My mum started to complain to me about it, and I told my mum, well, she technically wasn't even invited, and my wife had no expectations to entertain her while in my wife's family's cabin while my wife is on vacation.
Mm.
My mum started saying, well, she wouldn't have come if she knew that. And I told my mum, next time, take the hint. If you aren't invited, don't come. My parents left after dinner. My mum complained that my wife should have tried to be a more gracious hostess. And I said, maybe my mum should try not being an unwanted guest.
Oh, Lordy,
Ooh, juicy juju.
it's a
All right.
curly one, isn't it?
So what do we make of that, Kez?
Yeah. I first and foremost, I do love how he is standing up for his wife. Like he
Bingo.
sees your point
Yeah.
of view straight away and gets it. So that I love. That I love.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a tricky situation, isn't it? Because yeah, sometimes even though like even if the mother-in-law came and like brought the food, but yay for her, prepared the food, yay for her. And even if she had no expectation of the daughter-in-law to be preparing the food with her, it's still like sometimes when you think, oh, I'm just going to be in my own space and just, you can put your hand down your pants, you can fart, you can do whatever, you don't need to put on makeup. Like, you can just be in your own space, do what you want, make yourself a Vegemite sandwich for dinner if you want to, like just that. But then to have someone come in your space and you feel obligated to do all the social niceties. I'm
Right.
actually very proud of that daughter-in-law, that wife, for actually just yeah, just getting up and moving herself.
By sticking to her guns of going, no, no,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't matter to me who's in this house. I'm doing what I'm here to do, which is
Mm,
be alone, read
yeah.
my books, be in my room, be a slob, whatever it is that she wanted to
Mm,
do. She's doing it regardless of who's there. So
yeah,
props to her.
yeah,
And yeah, like you said, massive props to the husband for not then, you know, switching out on his wife, going, what, you couldn't even entertain my mum for one day?
yeah,
Like, so
exactly. Yeah.
he bravo to the husband
Props.
for,
Absolute. Yeah. Props to him. Yeah.
oh,
That's great.
because that's
Mm,
something we've talked about before, is it's the spouse's job to protect your partner from your family.
mm-hmm.
And beautiful, he's done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can well imagine the awkwardness at the next family gathering though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and to be fair, there was probably no way that he could have confronted that situation without the mother getting offended. Like there would
Right.
have been no way that that could have been handled where she wasn't going to take offense on some level, even if he did it the nicest, most, the sweetest possible way. I don't think there was going to be unless he like played devil's advocate and said, oh yeah, maybe she could have done that, and then like not said anything to like, which would be completely out of integrity. So yeah, it's an interesting one. So look, I think they played it the way that the best way possible, really. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I
So how
think
many times would you think to yourself, gee, if that was me, because I always put myself, if I was the mum, how would I feel? If I was the wife, what would, if I was the wife and my mother-in-law popped over for the day,
mm,
the people pleaser in the old me would have dropped whatever I was doing and
mm,
pandered to her. Well, not necessarily pander, but at least entertain her. At
yeah,
least offer to make her a cup of tea, help with
mm,
lunch, help with dinner,
have to do the
actually
chit
spend
chat.
time with her. Again, so I'd sacrifice myself for that.
Mm,
That is
yeah,
something that
self abandon.
yeah. And
Mm.
then and this is where I come to go, because I think a lot of us have had that people pleaser part of
Oh,
us.
100%. Still there, probably.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if that
So
was me, I would
I think
probably
being
feel
being
inclined.
a hostess would um that's definitely where most of us would go. We would abandon our own plans to then look
Mm,
after the mother-in-law. And
yeah.
I think it's brilliant that she didn't,
Mm,
because she wasn't asked to. No one asked
mm,
her.
mm,
And then the mother-in-law, again, yeah, I wouldn't just turn up without asking if it was okay or
mm,
an invitation.
mm,
Like clearly the dad was going to be fishing.
mm-hmm.
So that means the mum, in her mind, she's going to have the day with her daughter-in-law. So she's gone up with this expectation,
Yeah. Yeah.
but she wasn't invited. And it
Mm,
wasn't, oh, come up and spend the day with me.
mm.
She just, yeah, she inserted herself. What do you,
I think and like it probably comes from a place of thinking of the parents. Like the parents are probably retired. They have a lot of time to themselves to do whatever it is they want to do whenever it
yes,
is they want to do it. And so it wasn't in their, like they don't have the perspective of it's been a rough week. I've been really busy. I just want time to myself. So they don't come in with that point of view.
right.
So, yeah, so mother in law probably didn't even cross her mind that the daughter in law might just want to have her own space. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see what the relationship was like beforehand as
Mm,
well. I dare say it's a little bit more damaged now, but if you could, but if you could just, I think, yeah, it's still really awkward, isn't it? But
yeah,
she like both of them played it really well, and they obviously don't have a lot of people pleasing tendencies like you and I
I
might do.
know,
Because
right?
I would probably have had to, yeah, I would have probably sacrificed myself and entertained when I didn't really want to, and then bitched about it afterwards. To be perfectly honest, like that's probably where I would have gone. But
Yeah,
I'm, yeah, very proud of them for not doing that. But
yeah,
yeah, maybe like, yeah, like the conversation that would, in like my highest self, the conversation would be, wow, I'm surprised that you're here. I've really, really had a rough day at work, and I really like a rough week at work, and I really wanted to have my own space this week. But the thing is, like, she's stuck there as well, because then you'd sort of go, what I need from you is to piss off, basically. But like, if she was stuck, if they only brought the one car up or whatever, what was she going to do? They're just going to sit there
mm.
awkwardly staring at each other. It's just, yeah, just it's a curly situation. I think they played it perfectly. They
Mm,
did a lot better than what I would have done, because I would have sacrificed myself and then probably bitched about it afterwards. So
mm,
absolutely kudos to them. But yeah, it's a curly one, and I think, yeah, I think mum-in-law's feelings are hurt, and she's just going to have to sit with that hurt
mm.
and try and see it from their perspective of, yeah, they had a rough week. It would be a different story if the cabin was theirs,
Yeah,
like, because my in-laws have got a beach house, and like, unless I said to them, I really like, I would actually specifically say, can we just be on our own this weekend? But like, even then, like, you couldn't really say that to them because it's their house.
right.
So yeah, but if it wasn't their house as well, or their cabin, and they just rocked up, yeah, then I would be more comfortable in setting those boundaries, I think.
Mm. I think
Mm,
now that I've just sort of thought this through a little bit more, I'm thinking I would have, if it was me,
mm,
I would have, I would have said to the when mother-in-law first walked in, and I'm like, oh, like lovely to see you, kiss and a hug. Explain to her, like, let her in on what I already know. It's been a rough
mm,
week. She doesn't know this stuff, right? It's been a
mm,
rough week. I just really need a few hours of downtime where I can just
mm,
unwind, get back to my default level. Let's catch up over dinner. And I would have then made the compromise would be I wouldn't, to me, that I couldn't take a plate and go to my room, especially if she'd made the dinner.
yeah, yeah.
I could not do that. I
No,
wouldn't do
I
that.
don't think I could either. No.
No, that to me, that's just a bit too rude.
Yeah, yeah.
Good on
No,
you if you
true.
can do that, but I don't think I could.
Yeah.
To, if you've managed to get the whole day in, read a book, relaxed, had a snooze, whatever,
Mm,
I'd then join them for dinner and have a good family conversation about over dinner,
mm,
talk about the fishing, talk about this and that. And then if they chose to, I don't know whether they were ever going to stay over. It says they left after dinner. Whether or not that was intentional or because they were offended, I don't know. But
Mm,
I don't think I could do that because that would just make the next encounter or the next family meeting just a bit too awkward for me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you've got to think about the flow on effect and the consequences of everything you do. And I think
Mm,
the consequences of basically just ignoring them when they're in your space for a whole day.
mm,
I think that's a little too much for me. For me, I
yeah,
don't think I could
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, yeah, like they played it out. Like, if
Yeah,
you really did not give a shit, then they played it out perfectly, really.
yeah,
And yeah, sometimes in the setting of your boundaries, people are going to get upset with you, and you
mm,
need to be okay with that. But yeah,
mm,
I don't know if I would have. Yeah, I think taking the dinner and taking it to her room, that was probably I was really like, oh, like
yeah,
nothing wrong with it, but it's certainly not what I would have done for sure.
right.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Well, I
a
guess they've
no.
definitely set the boundary for next time because we're assuming that they're going to go up to this cabin again. The mother will never just rock up unannounced ever again. So they've definitely
True.
set a boundary over that. So
Mm,
whether they or not the mood might change next time and we want them around. So let's formally invite them and then they'll see the difference between when we're prepared to be a host and we're prepared to have you up, how lovely it can be. But if
mm,
that hasn't happened, then don't just rock up unannounced because you'll
yeah.
definitely feel the difference.
Yeah, yeah. Or even
Mm.
if the mother-in-law like came up to the cabin, but she goes, I just came up here because I just really wanted to go for a nature walk. Please just pretend I'm not here. And then
Yes.
she could have gone up and done her own thing, and then there'd be no expectation. But the fact that she brought food, she expected the daughter-in-law to help prepare the food with her and chit chat and all the rest of
Mm.
it. It's all energy, isn't it? It's all like an energy expenditure having to do the
Mm.
chit chatty and the entertaining and that. So, and if you're prepared for it, all well and good. But if you're not prepared for it, it is like scraping the bottom of the energetic barrel. And it's like I
Yes.
had nothing to give in the first place, and I wasn't expecting to give it, and yet here you are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think over time, the mother in law would, once she got over the hurt of the situation, um, through her own fault, but once she got over the hurt, she would probably be able to see it from their perspective and then just go, yeah, okay, well, we won't do that again, kind of thing.
Well,
So,
let's hope that she can process that because the alternative is she'll make up this story. My daughter-in-law's a bitch. She never
hmm
wants me around. Like she could go into all these stories and assumptions, which are not true,
no,
but,
no,
but
she
they
just,
suit her narrative.
yeah,
They see
yeah,
her as being the good
yeah,
person. And so let's
yeah.
hope that that's not going to
Yeah, I
happen
brought
and
the
that they
food up and everything, and she still wouldn't come.
are
Yeah, yeah.
ungrateful.
Yep, you
Yeah.
can
So I
see it
think
from
a
the
conversation probably does need to happen within this family about, um, you know, that's not normal behavior and that there was absolutely a reason behind it of having this hard week and it was sprung on her, let's put it that way.
Mm,
So
yeah.
um so hopefully they're all mature enough to have an open conversation about it and agree that going forward, yeah, wait for the
Mm,
invitation.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I don't think that mum-in-law will be doing that again anytime soon. And good thing too, because yeah, you do just sometimes need your own space
Mm,
in somewhere that is not your own house, because you could
mm,
argue that I have, when the kids are at school and husband's at work, I've got hours in here on my own, but you find things to do in your own house as well. Like you'll tidy up and you'll do this and you'll do that. But if you're somewhere else, then you can actually just relax and decompress because there's not anything that you feel like you have to do. So,
yep.
yeah. Oh dear. Well, well done to them. Like they handled it very well. And hopefully that there will be a conversation later on down the track when all of the hurt and the emotion is
Yeah.
out of the way, that they
Mm,
can see it from each other's point of view. And the good thing is, like confrontation, it doesn't, and boundary setting, it's not always a bad thing. Like sometimes, when bones are broken, they heal stronger. So
yep.
sometimes it does take people to fall out with each other to then actually get each other's perspective. And then heal it and become stronger for it, because then you know each other better as
Yeah.
well. So then you would go, you know, the mother-in-law would just go, okay, so daughter-in-law needs some time to decompress. She does have a stressful job. And so, yeah, and just having that extra level of understanding and knowing that person deeper, it does
Yeah.
nothing but bring you closer together.
And when
Unless
they
you,
do, yeah, for sure. And when they do get together next time, hopefully they can all come with openness,
mm,
question with curiosity
yeah.
to understand why that kind of went a little bit wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I just really hope and pray that that mother-in-law does have the emotional maturity to go into a conversation with
Right.
curiosity and not
Yeah.
and not judgment, because you know the baby boomers aren't probably known for their emotional their emotional maturity.
Maturity. Yeah.
Like, yeah, they would like to think they are, but I don't know if that's actually the case. No, no. I've
Yeah.
seen some baby boomers act very
Yeah.
immaturely,
Yeah.
emotionally, and just be
Yeah.
like, oh, really? You're behaving that way? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So fingers crossed they can all get through this and it's not something that then goes on to haunt them.
Yeah. Yeah. But, his question was, am I the a-hole?
No,
No, no.
absolutely not.
You might have been able to fluff out the language a little bit more, maybe, but that boundary setting was stellar.
Right.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. Am I the a-hole for telling my mum she was an unwanted guest? No, I don't think he was. That was
no.
the overriding question. No.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
congratulate him on actually doing the right thing by his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
I
yeah,
love
and
that.
if we were to use the formula to make it a little bit fluffier,
Hmm.
could have said, I feel that you invaded our space because we were very much prepared to have time to ourselves, and your visit was kind of sprung on us, and we believe that there was an expectation that we were to entertain you,
Mm,
um, because you rocked up without letting us know that you were coming. So, what we need from you in the future is to call us if you're going to come along.
mm,
And if you do it again, if you felt like that was necessary, because if you want to set a boundary, just say, if this continues, what I'm afraid will happen is this. So, yeah, so if
mm,
you show up uninvited again, I'm afraid that, like, I don't know, whatever the consequence is.
mm.
So, yeah, if you wanted to fluff out the language a little bit more, you could do it that way. But yeah, I think you did a stellar job.
Yeah.
Stellar job, son.
Stella, well done. Well done, Hubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
All
Excellent. All right.
right.
So the
Good
problems of the
job.
world won't
Good
come today.
chat. Good chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Always. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk next episode, shall we?
I reckon. I reckon. And if anyone else has their own scenarios,
Yeah,
please
please.
write them in. Like, you guys are like, when's the next episode? But give us something to chew on, will you? Like, crikey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got anything yourself, like a situation where you don't know what you should have done or what you could have done or whatever, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring
Totally
it on.
anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
No names required. Millsandcares@gmail.com. Write in.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you know Kez or myself, just send us a message. We're always here. We're always around.
Always
We're
here.
always looking for more fodder that we can
Yes,
bite into. Yeah.
absolutely. Excellent. All right, guys. We'll see you next
Okay.
time.
Bye.